Hello everyone, my name is Comico Industries and welcome to the first episode of my speed art videos. I have no other clever name for these videos except speed art, where it's just a time lapse of me drawing something a lot more detailed than, the sketches that I usually have on 5 Drawing Friday. So, this will kind of take the reins of 5 Drawing Friday. Every month, or I don't have a specific time, but around every month, there will be a speed art video, and it will be more detailed, more in-depth, a lot more value going on, and overall a better drawing. So the video starts off with me starting on the face, and to me that's the most important part. This is a focal point of the piece. So I feel like that's the best place to start, because when you start it, you try to do the best that you could with it. And as you can see right here, I go towards the eyes, because the eyes are what you see first in a person, and since the Scarecrow is technically a person, even though he's not real, it's what you're drawn to. And there's very daunting and very scary looking eyes, and they really grab you whenever you see them. So I felt like this was the most important place to start, and then just getting the details around the eyes, and really just going around the face. I feel like the eyes are a good anchor point for doing things like that, for really fleshing out the face and making sure that it all flows together nicely. The values are correct, and they're very dynamic, and they aren't boring, if that makes sense. But really starting with something and then branching out is a really great way to get a good portion of what you're working on done. And as you can see, I move over to the nose, which completely contradicts what I just said. It's because, for me at least, moving around the face is really, really important. It really helps to spark your interest in it a lot more. You're not just bored working on one part of the face at a time. You're getting a whole new set of values. You're getting a whole new challenge to overcome when you're drawing, and I feel like it's overall a better experience, and it's a lot more engaging when you move around and you change up your pace. And as you can see, I moved down to the little gas piece thing on his cheek and on his jaw. And then I stop, because taking breaks is a good thing when you're drawing. So start up again, and I continue working. One thing that I learned from working on this drawing is, first of all, how big file sizes are, because this is I cut this into about 3 sections each, 4 sections, each an hour long, and each file size was 1 gigabyte, which is crazy. But for the drawing, I learned at how hard it is for me to create texture, to really get texture, because the face is very burlappy. There's a lot of hatching, and it has a knitted look to it, and really capturing that was such a challenge, and I don't feel like I did it justice. I don't feel like I did it well enough. And it's the same thing with the clothes. Just getting that feel is really challenging to do. And I actually tried it in one portion that you'll see towards the end of the drawing that I just decided to cover up, and I'll talk about that later, covering up your mistakes. So right here you can see the second eye has been drawn, and I really like how the eyes turned out in this drawing. And value. I want to talk about value for a second. In my drawing, I don't feel like I got the value dark enough at some points. So what I would recommend is to not be afraid to go dark. If you have what I use a lot in this video, which is an electric eraser, then most of your problems will go away once if you do something really dark. I mean, you won't get a perfect solid white if you color it in really, really dark black with an 8B pencil. None of that will happen, but you will get a lot of lighter values back that you lost. But at the very top of the face, I feel like I went way too light, and it kind of blends in with the rest of it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of all comes together, and it kind of clumps. And if you look at the original towards my version, it's kind of unsettling. It's like, oh, why don't I look at the original? It's a lot better. But I feel like I did a fairly good job with the time I gave myself, and with how things turned out. Definitely better than the first version that I tried a long time ago. So right now I'm just getting values in. Up at the top near the where the brow is made up, I tried doing the kind of burlappy crosshatch method, and it didn't work out, and you saw I erased a few times. It's hard, all right. getting that texture is hard, and I'm darkening it up because right there I saw that it was too light, so I tried darkening it, and even with it darker, it still didn't look right. It still wasn't how I wanted it to be. Oh, if you're wondering what I have in my hand, at the beginning of the video I didn't have it, and now I do. It is a smudge guard, so that is an amazing tool, an amazing, I guess, clothing item to wear while you're drawing. It basically, you wear it and you put it up, and so you can rest your hand on the paper, and it won't smudge the paper at all, which is a really useful thing if you're working in a larger area. I'm using a full sheet of copy paper, which is fairly big for what I'm used to. I'm not used to completely filling up a piece of paper with just a drawing, so this is kind of new to me. So that really helped in that nature. And later on in the video, I actually used an index card for my other hand because it's all filled with lead. It's all filled with the graphite, and so I would definitely recommend getting a smudge guard to be able to have that freedom that you wouldn't normally have, and definitely use other things for your other hands, like an index card, to be able to hold the paper in place, or just tape the paper. Even though if you have graphite underneath the tape, it will kind of go away. So right there, I'm working on the cheek, going towards the mouth, and it's very cut up and broken, and there's a lot of these strands and string coming down to the mouth and around it as well, which I really like. I think it looks really good in the picture that I looked at. And yes, I did look at a reference, which I would recommend 100%. If you're just trying to recreate something in your own way, by just using your head, then it really doesn't turn out well at all. It really doesn't. Unless you're making an original character, then then it would be better, obviously, because you know what he or she looks like, or it. It could be an it. But right there, I'm using an 8B to darken up the mouth and to just go around to get the definitive shape, going around the teeth and the strands. I really like how the mouth turned out. The only problem that I really see with the mouth is that it's really a problem with the entire face, is that some parts the values aren't defined enough to where they're very distinguishable. So that's really my only complaint with it. But I had a lot of fun with this drawing. I really like how it turned out. Things that I could recommend to newcomers trying to get into drawing like this, and I mean, I'm really kind of a newcomer when it comes to realistic looking replication and realistic looking drawings, but some advice that I can give is to have patience and don't really rush things, because if you do, then it just is a recipe for disaster, really. Some people can work really fast, and but those are the professionals. Those are people who have done it for a while, who know techniques, who know how to go about doing that. And I actually did learn some techniques to go around realism throughout this drawing that I definitely used towards the end. And one thing that I definitely used is covering up my mistakes, because there was this one part really, really troubling me that I just decided to just cover up, and I don't think it looks too bad. All right, there, going into the cross-hatching sort of method again. I go to that area towards the chin a lot in this drawing, and then I moved up to the cloak, to the hood, because, like I said, that part was giving me trouble. The hood isn't entirely detailed, but one thing that I did do to distinguish it was I kept it very grainy, and I felt like that helped a lot in getting the whole fabric texture to it. Whereas everything else around it is very defined, very smooth like, but the hood is very grainy. Going back down to the other little what would you call that? It's like a little canister on his lower jaw that just kind of protrudes out of his mask. I don't know. It might be something for like breathing, or I have no idea. Really awesome character design though. I remember I wanted to make a drawing of Scarecrow from Arkham Knight the minute that they announced him, because he just looks so foreboding and so just sinister, and that game is gonna be so good with him in it. When I was working on this part, I saw the front piece and I was like, wow, this looks awful. This looks like a 5-year-old made it, and I kind of feel the same way still when I'm looking at the drawing. But when everything around it came together, and when I kind of touched it up a little at the end, it really helped. It really did. So if you see a part of your drawing that you don't like, what I'd recommend is to wait until everything else comes together, and then see if you still don't like it. And if you still don't, then change it, obviously. But if you end up liking it, then that's good, because a drawing's like a puzzle piece. You work on the different sections and you work on the pieces individually until you get an entire puzzle finished. You get the picture done. And sometimes the pieces look very awkward and weird by themselves. So really just wait. And same thing if there's a piece of the picture giving you trouble, just wait until you feel like you're ready to tackle it. Just right here, I'm just darkening up the top, and then I'm going back to the rest of the hood. The hood was a lot easier to make than I thought it was going to be. I used I think an 8B. I used an 8B and a 6B, and an AH for this entire drawing. And then I used my electric eraser a lot. The electric eraser is something that I would definitely recommend to people who make a lot of mistakes, and I'm one of them. I would definitely recommend it. It is a very, very good tool to use when you're drawing, and especially if you want to get highlights onto something. Towards the end of the video, I used it a lot for highlights and for making sure that that you get the high values that you want, and then you get the dark values in contrast with those. Another thing that I would recommend is going around the values. If there are defined values in the drawing, then I would definitely recommend going around that. The dark values are really easy to do because all I had to do was basically draw normally with the AB, and so I did that. I went around what I knew was not going to be a perfect 100% black value, and I just went around it. Here is attempt number probably 5 in the texturing of the face. I think this is what I ended up sticking with. Was just a very light crosshatch that kind of blurred together with my blending stump. And then I did the second half of the face. It kind of, in the final product, it looks a little lopsided, and I don't really know why. I think it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but it looks a little weird. I think it has to do somewhat with the values, that they aren't dark enough. You can see right there pretty clearly that the values kind of blend together, which is something that you don't want, definitely. You definitely want to have defined, clear values that really contrast with one another. And but there were a lot of mid-tones into the face, and it's one of my first realism drawings, so I feel like it turned out well for what it is. And right here, I am going into the bottom lip, which this was one of the hardest parts of the drawing. Was the lower jaw and the chin area, because, like I said, just getting that texture down was really crucial for the for whether or not the jaw looked good, and it was a nightmare. And as you can see, once I get down there, I move all the way to something else, and I move to the top of the hood again to finishing that. And like I said, that really what I would recommend to getting good values and to getting good texture is to study that texture a lot. Look up videos. I didn't for this piece, but I would definitely recommend looking up videos on how to create texture for clothing, for burlap, for cloth, for metal, for whatever you're doing, and definitely just really study the reference. Study it a lot, and hopefully you can work your way through it. And I ended up working my way through it. I got something that mostly represented what I intended for it to. and yeah. Right here I'm just going around and darkening up some areas, really touching up on some of the values and some of the drawing. And now I'm going back to the chin, actually getting something in. That's another thing that I would recommend, is just put something down. Whether it's good or not, you have an eraser. So as long as you don't go full on 100% black, which isn't what this part of the drawing intended, then you're fine. It actually might be better if it's not 100% white, or if there are some values leaking through the back of the piece. I tend to like that more. Sometimes it could lead to some really interesting results that kind of stray from your original drawing and from the original intention. And here, the second part of the mouthpiece kind of thing, it looks like a little piece of a gas mask, and this one turned out, I feel like this one turned out better than the other one. I ended up liking how both of them turned out, but this one was shrouded in darkness mostly, so that's better. Whenever things are shrouded in darkness, the darker it is, the better it is, because you're not really seeing it. You know it's there, you kind of get a glimpse of what's there, but you don't really see it, which is always a good thing. If you're not really good at drawing faces, cover them up with darkness. Really darken up their face. Put a hood over them. Do things like that, and that really draws your attention. It still keeps your attention because it looks foreboding. It looks almost menacing, and it also looks stealthy if that's not really the route that you're going for a foreboding nature. And so I feel like that's really really important to do when you're drawing, and when you're really learning how to draw, to really cover up what you're not good at, because it makes the things that you are good at just so much better. And yeah, it sounds like a great piece of advice. Oh yeah, cover up what you're doing, cover up your artwork. It's good. But I think you guys get what I mean. So I'm about done with part 1 of this. The video will continue, but the video will cut to after I made a little bit of progress. Right now I'm fleshing out some of the rough edges for what I'm working on, and now I'm working on the rope around him. It's either rope or tubing. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's rope in this nature, but as you can see, it doesn't really look that good. So I darkened it. It's dark in the actual reference, but I think I made it darker in this one, and I feel like it looks bad individually, but altogether I feel like it really captures the essence of what I was going for, as being rope coiled together. So that further proves my point to just keep working at it until it's all done, and then you might be surprised at how good it actually looks. There's the bottom of the hood, and going around the piece, getting the dark values in, and then right there I had messed up. I had darkened a place that wasn't supposed to be darkened, so I ended up having to erase that. And as you can see, it didn't get perfectly white, but I tend to like that a lot more. And here is part 2 of the video, which was that cut. I finished all the rope. A little sheen to the video, which I never really noticed. And right here, I'm going for the little bulbs that are they're little like glass tube canister looking things around him. Right here, there was another problem with blending, the values kind of blending together. If you look at it closely, you can kind of see where, what I was going with it, but it still blends a lot, which kind of sucks. But you can see getting the values. These little glass tube looking bulbs were really hard to do because they looked very rough with the pencils that I was using. For some reason, I was mainly using a 6B at this point. I guess to get the dark values and to get the light values, because it's a very versatile pencil range-wise. And I guess I wanted to get that, but I did end up using an H to get that done, and yeah, definitely I use my blending stump a lot to get it, because it's dirty just enough to where it gets the value that I want, which is really nice to use. And right there, I touched up the bulb because it was pretty crooked. It still looks kind of crooked, to be honest. All 6 of them together. I think I made the bottom one too small. And I was trying to get it in the same position as the reference, and it didn't turn out. It didn't turn out that well. But what can you do? And right here, I'm getting close to the arm and the other tubing around, which is what I'm working on right now, but you can't really see it. I think I move it. I just moved it and into a worse position. My setup is kind of constraining with how I can move the paper. It was butting up against the tripod multiple times and kind of curving at the bottom. And if you can see at the bottom right here, you can see kind of like a wavy looking thing. That's what I did for most of the drawing. I did like kind of like fiery, like smoke like appearance. I did that in the background as well, and I just thought that looked good. I just thought that looked cool. Right here, doing the tubing and getting it to fade in was kind of hard. I feel like again, looking at it closely, it looks, you know what it is, and it looks good. But overall, it kind of all blends together. The smoke and the adjoining parts of the body. I really like how this tube turned out, because there are a lot of highlights on it, and that's just cool to be able to do something like that and to really get it to look just like how you want it to. Is a really nice feeling when you're working on a drawing. And right here, continuing the tubing, again, just following the method of just moving around and doing different things, really helps when you're drawing, and really helps gain your interest, where you continue working on the drawing all at once, and to keep it fresh, and to not have the quality kind of dip when you're working. Getting this little rope thing that blends in a lot with the background, but it's supposed to in this circumstance. There's a lot of detail on Scarecrow, and that's what I would recommend if you're wanting to do things like this. To really recommend a piece with a lot of detail, or a piece with a lot of character. I would definitely recommend trying an original piece as well, which I will do in future speed art videos. I will do my own pieces. I will do original artworks, and at that point I'll go about how I would do a realism drawing as an original, and the problems that would arise and how to go about it. It's really the main thing with that is to get a lot of reference of different parts that you want to work on. So if you're doing a person, then you would want reference of how to draw eyes, mouth, nose, really get facial shape down. Anatomy is really important, and getting an anatomical structure to follow would be really good. Really, the main thing is having a good sense of anatomy, to where you know if things are not proportional. Proportion is so important at the beginning. If you didn't see at the beginning of the drawing, I had reference lines. I had a really rough draft sketched on the drawing. That's what I would definitely recommend doing to really get your proportions right. The tubing I didn't really have that much of a rough draft on, and so that's why it looks lopsided and it looks weird. So I definitely recommend that you have really defined, really well done rough draft before you go into the final one, because if you have a mistake that you made, if the proportion is off and you're already an hour into the hand, then you've just wasted an hour, and you might not be able to get that back. But definitely, if you do run into that problem, I would definitely try to work towards solving it. I wouldn't just give up and just restart. I would definitely try erasing it. Try making the wrong proportions right without changing much. That might not be possible, but it might entirely not be possible. Who knows? But I would definitely recommend trying at least to get around that. And right here is there are some textures of the cloth and of his cloak, and right there is a metal little strap that he has on his arm. I really like how that metal turned out. I think it turned out very well. I feel like the textures are very nice on it, and here not so much. Like I said, just getting a fabric looking texture is really hard to do, and I feel like I kind of pulled it off right there, but you'll see in a little bit. I'm just not able to do the shoulder at all. It just does not turn out well. And here is my just downfall of just trying to get a good texture in, and the multiple times that I erase, and then I just end up erasing the entire thing and putting a smoke kind of thing behind it, or in front of it. I mean, sorry. And yeah, I don't really know how to get around that because I couldn't do it in the end. Really what I would say is, if you can't do it, or if it just isn't turning out well, and you've done everything else, and all you really need to do is that, then I would recommend just covering it up, or just trying to find a way to not do that part, and to do something else in its place. That's really what I would recommend. And yeah, right here is the final piece. It, in all of its entirety, I turn off my lamp so you don't really see a shine. I really like how it turned out. You can see the smoke around there. Really goes well with it, and the bulbs, they do look a little off, mainly because of blending, but I really like how that metal band turned out. The metal band, I really like how that turned out, and yeah, overall, I really enjoyed working on this piece. I really enjoyed the outcome of the piece, and I think it's very nice. I think it's a really nice piece. So, guys, let me know if you enjoyed the speed art video, if you enjoyed me talking about the piece, talking about the obstacles that I overcame, and let me know if you like this series, if you want me to continue it every month or so. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.